The moment Seattle architect Kira Lawson threw herself between the screaming child and the men trying to drag her into a black van, she had no idea she'd just disrupted a kidnapping attempt on a crime lord's daughter, or that the tall Korean man who arrived with armed bodyguards and deadly calm in his eyes would look at her with such raw intensity and gratitude that her entire body would respond, making her forget she was bleeding on rain-soaked pavement and had just nearly been killed. James Lee, Seattle's most feared underworld kingpin, stared at the brave stranger who'd saved his daughter's life and felt something crack open in his chest that terrified him. This woman had put herself in harm's way without hesitation, looked at him like he was just a father instead of a monster. And when their hands touched as he helped her stand, the electricity between them was so powerful that both froze, knowing this moment would change everything. What neither of them knows, as he's insisting on taking her to his private doctor, as he's assigning her security detail with desperation in his voice, as she's saying yes despite every logical warning screaming in her head, is that the rival gang who tried to take his daughter saw Kira's face clearly and are already planning to use her as leverage to destroy the crime boss who refused to bow to their threats. And the passion building between them every time they touch will either save them both or be exactly what their enemies need to tear their worlds apart in the most brutal public way imaginable. Kira woke to the scent of expensive linen and antiseptic. Not the sharp, institutional smell of a regular hospital, but something softer, more refined. Her eyes opened to find herself in a suite that looked more like a luxury hotel than a medical facility. Cream walls, abstract art, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Seattle skyline through the rain. Her shoulder throbbed. Her memory came back in fragments. The little girl's scream. The men's hands. The impact of the pavement. And those eyes, dark and unreadable, watching her like she was something precious and dangerous all at once. The door opened without a knock. James Lee walked in wearing a different suit than yesterday, this one charcoal gray, perfectly tailored. His expression was carefully blank, all the raw emotion from the street erased. He looked like a CEO reviewing quarterly reports, not a man whose daughter had nearly been taken. "You're awake," he said, his voice low and controlled. "Good. The doctor says you have a mild concussion and bruised ribs. Nothing permanent." Kira pushed herself up, wincing. "Where am I?" "A private facility. Your injuries have been treated. All expenses covered." He pulled an envelope from his jacket. "Additionally, I've arranged compensation for your time and trauma. I believe this is more than fair." The clinical tone made her bristle. "I don't want your money. Nevertheless, you have it." He set the envelope on the side table. "I'm also assigning a security detail. 2 men, rotating shifts. They'll remain at a discreet distance, but they'll be there." "Absolutely not." His jaw tightened, the first crack in his composure. "The men who tried to take my daughter saw your face. They know you intervened. That makes you a liability they might choose to eliminate. Then I'll go to the police." Something dangerous flashed in his eyes. "And tell them what? That you witnessed an attempted kidnapping but can't identify the attackers? That you're being threatened by shadows?" He leaned forward slightly. "Miss Lawson, you walked into something yesterday. Something the police can't protect you from. But I can. I didn't ask for your protection. You didn't ask to nearly die on my daughter's behalf either, yet here we are." His voice dropped, and for just a moment, she saw the man from yesterday, the one with tears threatening to spill. "I don't leave debts unpaid. Especially not ones this significant. It's not a debt. I saw a child in danger. Anyone would have. But they didn't. You did." He straightened, the mask sliding back into place. "The bodyguards start tomorrow. I suggest you don't fight them. They're very good at being invisible when necessary." He was at the door when she called out. "Your daughter. Sophie." Is she okay? James paused, his hand on the doorframe. When he turned back, his expression had softened almost imperceptibly. She keeps asking about the brave lady in the rain. She wants to thank you herself. Then he was gone, leaving Kira alone with an envelope full of money she didn't want and the certainty that her carefully ordered life had just been irrevocably complicated. The bodyguards had been following Kira for 3 days when Sophie Lee walked into her architectural firm holding her father's hand and clutching a teddy bear. Kira looked up from her drafting table to find James standing in her office doorway, looking distinctly uncomfortable. Gone was the cold businessman from the hospital. In his place stood a man in dark jeans and a black sweater, slightly rumpled, with a 5-year-old tugging insistently at his sleeve. She wouldn't stop asking, James said by way of explanation. I apologize for the interruption. But Kira wasn't looking at him. She was looking at Sophie, whose round face broke into the brightest smile. You're the brave lady. Sophie launched herself forward, and Kira barely had time to kneel before small arms wrapped around her neck. Daddy said you saved me from the bad men. I just happened to be there, sweetheart. Kira's throat tightened as she hugged the little girl back, breathing in the scent of strawberry shampoo. You were very brave. Sophie pulled back, holding out the teddy bear. This is Mr. Whiskers. He's my favorite, but I want you to have him. To say thank you. Oh, Sophie, I can't take your favorite. Please. Those dark eyes, so like her father's, looked up at Kira with such earnestness. He'll protect you. Like you protected me. Kira glanced at James, who was watching them with an expression she couldn't quite name. Something raw and vulnerable, quickly masked when he noticed her looking. Then I'll take very good care of him, Kira said softly, accepting the worn teddy bear. Sophie beamed, then turned to explore the office, fascinated by the architectural models on the shelves. James moved closer, his voice dropping to something almost tender. She had nightmares the first 2 nights. Last night, she slept through. She needed to see you were real, that you were okay. And you? Kira asked before she could stop herself. Did you need to see I was okay? He held her gaze, and for a moment, the careful walls came down. I haven't stopped thinking about you on that pavement. The way you didn't hesitate. The way you looked at me after, like I was. He trailed off, jaw working. Like you were what? Like I was someone worth looking at that way. The confession hung between them, vulnerable and dangerous. Kira felt her carefully constructed defenses cracking. This wasn't just a crime boss. This was a father who loved his daughter desperately. A man who carried his own wounds. Daddy, look. Sophie held up a miniature model of a house. It's like a dollhouse, but real. James's expression transformed when he looked at his daughter, all the hardness melting into pure affection. That's called an architectural model, princess. Can the nice lady build us a house? I'm sure she's very busy. I could show you the design process, Kira heard herself say. If you'd like. Sophie's squeal of delight made them both smile. And when James's eyes met Kira's over his daughter's head, something unspoken passed between them. Something that felt inevitable and terrifying and impossible to resist. The dress had arrived at Kira's apartment that morning. Midnight blue silk that fit like it had been made for her, because it probably had been. The note was simple, tonight. The Fairmont. 7 p.m. Please. Jay. She should have said no. Should have returned the dress and the diamond earrings that came with it. Instead, she found herself in James's car, her hand resting on his arm as they walked into the gala like they belonged together. What exactly am I here for? She asked as they entered the glittering ballroom. Appearances. His hand settled on the small of her back, possessive and warm. In my world, showing up alone suggests weakness. Showing up with someone like you suggests I have something worth protecting beyond business. So I'm a prop. You're a statement. His eyes held hers. One I'm happy to make. The gala was elegant, filled with Seattle's elite. Businessmen, politicians, people who smiled with practiced ease. But Kira noticed the way certain men watched James, the careful distance they maintained. The deference that went beyond respect into something closer to fear. She was talking to a city councilman's wife when she saw James slip away toward a back hallway, his expression granite hard. Two men followed him, their movements too precise to be casual guests. Kira excused herself and followed, her heels silent on the carpeted corridor. She told herself she was just concerned. That it was normal to check on someone who'd suddenly disappeared. But the truth was, she needed to understand what James really was. She found the private room by the sound of voices. The door was slightly ajar. "You're 3 weeks late, Chen." James's voice was ice. "I don't accept late. Business has been slow," another man's voice, nervous and pleading. "Then you shouldn't have borrowed what you couldn't return." A pause. "I'm a reasonable man. I'll give you 1 more week. But if you're late again, I won't be taking your excuses. I'll be taking your warehouse in Pioneer Square. And if that doesn't cover it, I'll start looking at your other assets. You can't just..." The sound of something hitting a wall cut off the protest. Kira's hand flew to her mouth. "I can do whatever I want." James's voice was terrifyingly calm. "Because in this city, I own the shadows you hide your business in. I own the port where your shipments arrive. I own the silence that keeps the police from asking questions. So when I say you have 1 week, you have 1 week. Are we clear?" "Crystal. Good. Now get out." Kira stumbled back as the door opened, pressing herself against the wall. Chen rushed past, blood trickling from his nose, his face pale. The 2 men followed, and then James appeared in the doorway. He froze when he saw her. For a moment, something like regret crossed his face. Then it hardened into resignation. "So now you know," he said quietly. "I'm not just a businessman, Kira. I'm the king of everything the light doesn't touch." Kira stared at him, her perfect, ordered world crumbling. "What have I gotten myself into? Something you should walk away from. Before it's too late." Kira didn't wait for the car. She walked out of the Fairmont into the Seattle rain, the expensive dress already soaking through, mascara probably running down her face. She didn't care. She just needed distance from the man who'd casually threatened to destroy someone's livelihood like he was discussing the weather. James caught up to her 2 blocks away, grabbing her arm gently. "Kira, please. Let me explain." "Explain what?" She whirled on him, rain streaming between them. "That you're a criminal? That you hurt people for money? That everything about you is a lie? I never lied to you." His voice was raw. "I just didn't tell you everything. That's the same thing." She pulled away from his touch, even though part of her wanted to lean into it. "I can't do this, James. I can't be part of whatever world you live in. I design buildings. I follow rules. I don't," her voice broke. "I don't associate with people who threaten and hurt others." "I know." He looked defeated, rain plastering his hair to his forehead. "I knew from the moment I met you that you were too good for this. For me. Then why did you keep pulling me in? The bodyguards, bringing Sophie to see me, tonight. Because I'm selfish." The confession came out harsh. "Because when you look at me, you see someone I wish I could be. And I wanted that, even knowing I had no right to it." Kira's chest ached. I can't save you, James. I can't be the good influence that makes your darkness okay. That's not how this works. I know. He stepped back, creating distance between them. You're right. You should walk away. Forget you ever met me. What about Sophie? Pain flickered across his face. I'll explain to her. She'll understand eventually. And the bodyguards? I'll pull them. You'll be free of all of it. Of me. His jaw clenched. You deserve a normal life, Kira. Someone who can take you to galas without blood on their hands. Someone you don't have to be ashamed of. I'm not ashamed, but she stopped, because wasn't she? Wasn't that why she was running? Go home, James said quietly. Live your life. Design your buildings. Find someone worthy of you. He turned away, shoulders rigid. I'll make sure you're safe. Even from a distance. James. Goodbye, Kira. She watched him walk back toward the hotel, a solitary figure in an expensive suit, and felt something tear inside her chest. But she didn't call him back. Instead, she got into a cab and went home, telling herself she'd made the right choice. The bodyguards were gone by morning. Her life returned to normal. Quiet. Safe. Ordered. Empty. For 3 days, Kira threw herself into work, ignoring the Mr. Whiskers teddy bear on her couch, ignoring the way her phone never rang. She'd wanted this. Distance. Safety. Her old life back. She didn't realize her old life was the most dangerous place she could be until the black van pulled up beside her on a rainy Thursday evening, and hands reached out to drag her inside. The basement smelled like mildew and rust. Kira's head throbbed where they'd hit her, zip ties cutting into her wrists as she sat bound to a metal chair. 3 men stood around her, speaking in rapid Korean. She caught enough words to understand. Leverage. Message. Lee. The door opened and a 4th man entered. Older, with graying hair and a scar running down his left cheek. He studied Kira with cold calculation. Miss Lawson. His English was accented but clear. I am Kong. You have the unfortunate distinction of being important to James Lee. I'm not, we're not. Please. My men have been watching. The bodyguards he assigned you. The way he looked at you at the Fairmont before you so dramatically walked away in the rain. Kong smiled without warmth. Young love. So volatile. So useful. He won't care. I ended things. Then this will be a short conversation. Kong pulled out a phone, dialing. He put it on speaker. James answered on the first ring. Who is this? An old friend. We have something of yours. Or perhaps something you threw away. Hard to tell with you, Lee. Silence. Then James's voice came through, deadly quiet. Where is she? Alive. For now. Whether she stays that way depends entirely on you. If you hurt her, the barely restrained violence in his tone made Kira's breath catch. You'll what? Start a war? Over a woman you publicly abandoned 3 days ago? Kong circled Kira's chair. I think not. You've gone soft, Lee. Pulling your men back, leaving her vulnerable. Very careless. Tell me what you want. Your territory in Pioneer Square. Your shipping routes. And your promise to stay out of my business for the next 5 years. Kang's voice hardened. You have 24 hours to decide if she's worth it. Don't. James's composure finally cracked. Don't make me wait. Please. Whatever you want, it's yours. Just don't hurt her. Kira had never heard desperation like that in anyone's voice. 24 hours, Lee. And if I see any of your men within 10 blocks of this location, I'll send her back to you in pieces. Kong ended the call. Kira's whole body shook. He'll give you what you want. He'll do exactly what I expect. Kong leaned down to her eye level. He'll ignore my warning, track this phone, and come for you with every man he has. Because James Lee doesn't negotiate. He destroys. He straightened. Which is why I wanted him to know I have you. Not to make a deal, but to hurt him where he's finally vulnerable. In his heart. The door closed, leaving Kira in darkness with the terrible realization that she hadn't just walked away from James to save herself. She'd walked away and made herself the perfect weapon to destroy him. James didn't wait 24 hours. He didn't even wait 4. Kira heard the first gunshot and flinched against her restraints. Then chaos erupted. Shouting in Korean, running footsteps, more gunfire that seemed to come from everywhere at once. The single bulb overhead swayed with each impact, casting wild shadows across the concrete walls. The door to her room burst open. One of Kang's men rushed in, gun drawn, moving toward her. Before he could reach her, the back of his head exploded in red. He dropped, and James stood in the doorway, pistol raised, his suit jacket gone and his white shirt splattered with blood that wasn't his. Their eyes met across the basement room. Down! James shouted, diving toward her as bullets tore through the doorway where he'd been standing. He hit the floor, rolled, and came up firing. 2 more of Kang's men fell. Then he was at her side, pulling a knife from his belt and cutting through the zip ties with quick, efficient movements. His hands shook as he checked her for injuries. Are you hurt? Did they? I'm okay. James, behind you. He spun, firing twice. Another body hit the ground. We need to move. Now. He pulled her up, keeping himself between her and the door. Stay behind me. When I say run, you run. Understand? Kira nodded, her whole body trembling. They made it halfway down the corridor when Kong appeared at the far end with 3 armed men. James pushed Kira against the wall, shielding her completely with his body as gunfire erupted. She felt him jerk once, twice, his weight pressing her harder against the concrete. James. I'm fine. Stay down. His voice was strained. He returned fire, controlled bursts that dropped 2 of the 3 men. The third retreated, and Kong disappeared with him. James's men flooded in from the opposite direction, securing the corridor. One of them, a lean man with sharp eyes, reached them first. Boss, you're hit. Get her out. James stepped back from Kira, and she saw the blood. His shoulder, his side. He was bleeding but still standing through pure will. Marcus, get her to the safe house. Don't stop for anything. No. Kira grabbed his arm, feeling the wet warmth of blood. I'm not leaving you. You have to. He cupped her face with one bloodied hand, his eyes desperate. Kang's still here. I need to finish this, and I need to know you're safe while I do. You're bleeding. I've survived worse. He kissed her forehead, brief and fierce. I let you walk away once. Biggest mistake of my life. I'm not losing you again because I was too weak to end this. He nodded to Marcus. Go. Marcus pulled her toward the exit while she fought against him, watching James reload his weapon and walk deeper into the building. Walking toward Kong. Walking toward whatever violent end waited for him in the darkness. And Kira realized with absolute certainty that if he died down here, part of her would die with him. James survived. Barely. Kira spent 3 days at his estate watching doctors come and go, watching him sleep fitfully in the master bedroom, bandaged and pale. The bullet they'd pulled from his side sat in a medical tray on the dresser, a grim souvenir. Sophie stayed with James's brother, kept away from the violence that had nearly claimed her father. On the 4th day, James was finally awake and lucid when Marcus requested an urgent meeting. Kira sat beside the bed, her hand in James's, as Marcus entered with another man she recognized as part of James's inner circle. "We found how Kong knew," Marcus said, his expression grim. "How he knew about Kira. How he knew exactly when you pulled the security detail." James's jaw tightened. "Who?" "David Chen." The name landed like a physical blow. Kira felt James's hand spasm in hers. Chen was James's second-in-command, the man he'd trusted for 15 years. The man who'd been at his side through every decision, every negotiation, every war. "You're certain?" James's voice was barely a whisper. Marcus nodded. "We have phone records. Money transfers to an offshore account. He's been feeding Kong information for 6 months. The kidnapping attempt on Sophie, Kira's location, all of it came from Chen." "Why?" The word came out broken. "He thought you were going soft. That caring about anyone, about Sophie, about Kira, made you weak. He wanted to prove you couldn't protect what mattered. That someone harder should be leading." James closed his eyes, his face ashen. 15 years. He was at my father's funeral. He helped me build everything we have. "I know, boss." Marcus's voice was gentle. "He's being held downstairs. Waiting for your orders. Leave us." James's voice cracked. "All of you. Now." When the door closed, Kira watched James struggle with emotions he clearly didn't know how to process. His free hand curled into a fist on the blanket, knuckles white. "Everyone I trust destroys me eventually," he said quietly. "My father's associates who tried to take over when he died. My ex-wife who left Sophie. And now Chen." He looked at Kira, his eyes hollow. "Maybe Kong was right. Maybe caring about people does make me weak." "No." Kira shifted closer, taking his face in her hands. "Caring makes you human. Chen's betrayal, that's on him, not you. He chose greed and ambition over loyalty. I should have seen it. You trusted someone you loved. That's not weakness, James. That's what makes you different from men like Kong." She pressed her forehead to his. "You could have left me with Kong. Cut your losses. Protected your empire. But you didn't. You bled for me. Nearly died for me. I'd do it again." His arms came around her, pulling her carefully against his injured side. "I'd do it 1,000 times. I know." She held him while he shook, this dangerous man who'd finally found something his violence couldn't fix. "And I'm not leaving. Not again. Whatever comes next, we face it together." The meeting took place in a warehouse on the waterfront, neutral territory where Seattle's 5 crime families had gathered for decades to settle disputes. Kira insisted on attending despite James's protests. "If we're doing this together, then I'm there," she'd said. No more shadows. Now she stood slightly behind James at the head of a long table, watching men who controlled the city's underworld study her with calculating eyes. Marcus flanked James's other side, armed and alert. The tension in the room was suffocating. "You called this meeting, Lee." An older Chinese man spoke first. "After the mess with Kong, we deserve answers." "Kong is dead," James said flatly. "Chen, who betrayed me to him, is also dead. That business is finished. And yet you gather us here." A Korean woman with silver-streaked hair leaned forward. Why? James's hand found Kira's, squeezing once before he spoke. Because I'm out. Silence. Then everyone started talking at once. You can't just. The territory alone is worth. This is insanity. Enough. James's voice cut through the chaos. I've already begun dismantling my operations. The shipping routes, the protection rackets, the loan operations, I'm liquidating everything. My legitimate businesses will continue, but everything else ends. Today. Your father built this empire, the Chinese man said carefully. You would throw away his legacy? My father's legacy nearly got my daughter killed. Twice. James's voice was steel. It nearly cost me the woman I love. I'm done paying for his choices with the people I care about. And you think we'll just let you walk away? The Korean woman's eyes narrowed. Redistribute your territory like you're handing out party favors? I think you'll take what I'm offering because the alternative is war. James pulled a tablet from his jacket, sliding it across the table. That contains every record I have. Every deal, every name, every transaction. Consider it my exit gift. Burn it, use it, I don't care. But understand this. He leaned forward, and Kira saw the dangerous man who'd stormed Kang's stronghold. I'm leaving the life, but I'm not defenseless. Touch my family, threaten my daughter or Kira, come after what I'm building, and I will rain down hell on whoever is responsible. I'll burn this entire city's underworld to the ground before I let anyone hurt them. Are we clear? The room was silent. That's not walking away, someone muttered. That's a threat. It's a promise. James straightened. I want peace. I want to build something clean with the woman I love and raise my daughter without looking over my shoulder. But I'll go to war one final time if any of you force me to choose. The older Chinese man studied James for a long moment, then nodded slowly. Your father would have called you weak. But I think perhaps you're the strongest man in this room. He stood, offering his hand. Go in peace, Lee. Build your life. One by one, the others agreed. When the meeting ended, James pulled out a lighter and held it to the tablet screen until it caught fire, watching his father's empire turn to ash and smoke. 1 year later, Kira stood on the back deck of the house she'd designed, coffee in hand, watching Sophie chase butterflies through the garden. The little girl was 7 now, her laughter bright and untroubled as she ran between the cherry blossom trees James had insisted on planting. She's gotten so fast. James came up behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist and resting his chin on her shoulder. He smelled like sawdust and coffee, the scent of honest work. His tattoos were hidden beneath a casual linen shirt, visible only when he rolled up his sleeves. Reminders of a past life, but no longer defining him. She's happy, Kira said softly. Really happy. No more nightmares. Thanks to you. He pressed a kiss to her neck. This house, this life, it's all you. We built it together. She turned in his arms, studying his face. The hard edges had softened over the past year. He smiled more easily now. Slept through the night. The shadows that had haunted his eyes had faded, replaced by something that looked remarkably like peace. Lee Construction had become one of Seattle's most respected firms in 12 months. James had thrown himself into legitimate business with the same intensity he'd once brought to the underworld, except now he was building things instead of tearing them apart. Kira served as lead architect, designing affordable housing projects and community centers. They were making a difference in ways that didn't require violence or fear. Daddy. Kira. Come see. Sophie waved frantically from the garden where she discovered a bird's nest in one of the lower branches. They walked down together, James's hand finding Kira's naturally. Sophie showed them the nest with reverent wonder, and James lifted her carefully so she could see the eggs inside without disturbing them. "New life," Sophie whispered. "That's special, right?" "Very special," Kira agreed, her free hand moving unconsciously to her own stomach where, in a few months, they'd be welcoming new life of their own. She and James had decided to wait to tell Sophie until after the first trimester. But watching him with his daughter, seeing the gentle way he handled fragile things now, Kira felt nothing but certainty about their future. Marcus still checked in occasionally, making sure the truce with the other families held. It did. James had kept his word, he'd walked away and stayed away. The Underworld had redistributed his territory without bloodshed, and in return, they'd honored his ultimatum. His family remained untouched. That evening, after Sophie was asleep, Kira and James sat on the deck watching the sun set over the Seattle skyline. The city looked different from here, softer somehow. Full of possibility instead of threat. "Do you miss it?" Kira asked quietly. "The power, the control?" James was silent for a moment, considering. Then he pulled her closer. "I miss who I thought I had to be. But I don't miss the life." He tilted her face toward his. "I have everything I actually wanted right here. My daughter safe. The woman I love. Work that doesn't stain my soul." His hand covered hers on her stomach, where their secret grew. "And a future I don't have to be ashamed of." Kira kissed him as the last light faded, tasting hope and hard-won peace. They'd survived the darkness together. Now they'd build something beautiful in the light.